Vlogmas day 3. This is a video that I thought would be kind of fun to look back on and to see what kind of books I have DNF'd and obviously given 5 stars to, and to have that compiled into one video would be amazing for anyone to see what I've given 5 stars this year. Surprisingly, not as many as I thought. I thought I'd given lots of 5 stars because I am quite generous when I give out stars. I also don't like to DNF books very often because I'm like very determined to just get through the book. If I'm going to start reading it, I will most likely try and finish the book. If I've picked it up, then I'm going to read it. But I have DNF'd a total of 3 books this year, which wasn't as many as I thought. I thought I'd maybe have like 6 or something. We're going to talk about the books that I've DNF'd and the 5 stars that I have given to some books. So yeah, beginning with obviously the DNFs. So to start off with, I actually read this book in a reading vlog, and I don't know if I said that I'd finished the book or what. I don't really know, but I think I was in a bit of a reading slump. But this is the book. It is The Woman in Cabin 10. I genuinely got so far into this book. I would honestly say maybe 200 pages, but I just didn't enjoy it. So a travel journalist called Lo Blacklock goes onto this cruise ship, and at night she hears this screaming, and she then finds out that there's actually nobody in the cabin next door to her where the screaming was happening. So obviously then she goes and discovers what actually happened. But I think when I was reading this book, I was in a book slump, so I think that was probably the reason for me not enjoying this book, and for that giving it a DNF. I would like to think maybe I'd pick this up, but I probably wouldn't. Yeah, I just didn't really enjoy it that much. It was not what I usually read. I usually read like romance, fantasy, that kind of thing. So this was like a thrillery kind of thing, and I just kind of didn't enjoy it. So for that, I did DNF this book. Then we have a book that I have wanted to read for ages, and I'm so disappointed about this one because the author I actually followed on TikTok ages ago, and when I heard that she was releasing a book that was like totally what I would read, I was really excited, and when I started reading it, it really wasn't that good. I was very upset because I had waited so many weeks for this book to come out, and yeah, for that it is Close Protection by Eden Victoria. I feel really bad saying that I didn't finish this book, but I honestly didn't really enjoy it that much. It was, I think the fact that it was a YA made it obviously had to be a bit more friendly for like young adults, I guess. But I think if it wasn't a YA, then this book had so much potential, but the fact that it was just kind of made it a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, I just didn't enjoy it at all. I don't really remember a whole lot about it, but I just didn't enjoy it at all. So for that, I gave it a DNF. Then last but not least, for the DNFs, I have Dial A for Aunties. Now, you might notice a theme here. I actually think that I DNF books when I'm in a reading slump. If I force myself to read a book that I don't want to read or something, then again that just puts me further into my reading slump, and I won't read anything unless I pick up something that's easy to read, like a dark romance or something. I bought this book in a charity shop and it sounded good. It was like something I would read, where I think she went on a date with someone and I think they got in a crash and died, I think. I can't really remember too well, but she dialed her aunties because her aunties were like these really confident, badass women. I didn't like it, and I think again I was in a reading slump, so I did DNF it because I just wasn't enjoying the book, obviously. So yeah, that's why I DNF'd it, but I don't have the book anymore, so I can't even try to read it again. But yeah. Then we're moving on to the exciting section of the video, which is the 5 stars. I have actually given 1, 2, 3. From what I can see, I've given 7 5 stars this year, which I thought was really low. I thought I'd definitely given more than that. Apparently not. Apparently only 7. So we're going to start off in the order that I have read them in. Now, a lot of these I spoke about in the first video of Vlogmas, so I am just going to talk about them again. But we have Magnolia Park. I did talk about this the other day, yes, because how gorgeous. Ooh, how gorgeous is she? If you didn't watch that video, go and watch it. But look at the inside of this book. I am going to spoil it for the sake of why not, because I can. Alright, so I will put the time on the screen that you can skip to if you don't want to be spoiled by this book. But The Long Way Home is the second book in the Magnolia Parks series. There's 3 books, I think. I read the first book a while ago and then I picked this one up, and it follows on obviously from the last book, where Magnolia and BJ are very on and off, and they, as usual, they're not in a relationship because of course they're not. It's Magnolia and BJ. I think this was the book where BJ actually cheated on her, and for that I'm like, BJ, you are just giving yourself another reason for that girl to hate you. Like, why would you do that? You love her and you've cheated on her again. It's like, get a hold of yourself. But I remember a lot about how Magnolia and BJ, they actually had, well, Magnolia had a miscarriage. That was obviously a really big shock to them, but they had like this tree. I think it was like her sort of memorial grave kind of area. I think that's what I remember, but I could be wrong. But yeah, that was like, you hear about this tree, I think in the other book as well, but you don't have any context about the tree. And yeah, so you find out what the tree is actually about in this book, I think. But I'm pretty sure Magnolia and BJ had an argument again, and then they get like a call from someone about her sister, and her sister has had like this, some sort of, what was it that actually happened? So BJ actually proposes to Magnolia and they're all happy, they're falling in love again, and BJ has bought like this really lovely house in Kensington, and then they hear some bad news about her sister, and the book ends on a cliffhanger whether her sister lives or not. And that's why in the last video I'll put like a little clip of it here so you can see my reaction to realising that the picture in the middle of this book actually could mean that her sister dies, which is so upsetting. But I realised that last Vlogmas episode 1, and I will, yeah, you'll obviously have just seen the video, but this picture where obviously she's hugging like a sort of heavenly looking figure, I guess, but it's really sad, and you know, she might not live, and so that's why I want to read the next book. But I'm like, I don't want the series to end because it's the last book in their series. It's also a really long book, which is great obviously, but I don't want to read it yet because I'm like, I can't bring myself to do it. And oh yeah, I did give this book 6 stars. I loved it. It made me cry so much at the end. Thinking back, I don't even know how I read this year. It feels like last year, but I think it was in January. But this was the second book of the year, and I gave another book 5 stars. And the book is Fourth Wing. Xaden, Ryerson and Violet Sorrengail. I said this in Vlogmas Day 1, but I love this book. I love Xaden so much. He is just a phenomenal man. I love the whole fantasy thing they've got going in this book, especially like the dragon kind of thing, where like their dragons are just so, I don't know, do you know what I love? And it's really random. I love like a protective dragon in a book. Is that weird? I don't know, but for that I really enjoyed this book, and I cannot wait to read Iron Flame. But it's such a big book. Do you know what? I actually might read it soon. It takes so much for me to mentally read a book. I don't know why, but I'm like, I have to mentally prepare myself to read a book because I know how good this is, and like if it doesn't compare then I'm going to be so upset. But I know that this is the better book out of the series. And Onyx Storm came out this year, so like I would be able to read it. I don't know if it's come out in paperback yet, because that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for it to come back in paperback, so then I could buy it and then it would be fine, because I don't have any hardcover books of this series. I have this in paperback, Iron Flame in paperback, and I obviously want Onyx Storm in the paperback. But yeah, I gave this book 5 stars, very enjoyed it, cannot wait to read Iron Flame. I think it's going to be fun, and I might read it sometime this month. You never know. Sticking with like the very book talky books, we've got A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm not going to go too in depth with this book because it is the second book in the series. I'm pretty sure like everyone and their nan has read this book at this point, but I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot about it. I'm sure if I like looked through like a highlight of everything that happened in this book, I would remember everything, but from the top of my head I don't remember a lot about this book. But I do love, what is his name again? Rysand. I never knew how to say his name. I do love him, and I actually need to get the next book in the series. I don't have it. It would be nice to have it in paperback. So yeah, that is another 5-star book that I gave this year. One that I was definitely expecting to give 5 stars because I think everyone has. I am truly obsessed with this book series. It's probably like my top 3 book series I've ever read, and it's the second book in the Boys of Tommen series. Shannon and Johnny just are, I don't have words to explain how much I love these two. They are just everything and more. I love them, I love Johnny, and I love Shannon. I just feel so awfully bad for Shannon, but Johnny is just, he's everything you need in your life. And yeah, again, this is the second book in a series. There is a recurring theme going on here. But yeah, obviously Shannon has not got a very nice home life, and I think this is also the book where Johnny actually goes and stands up for her. He goes and like gets her out of that house. And whenever I see like TikToks of this book, it just makes me remember everything about it because it's such a big book. Like, I don't think the camera does it any justice of how big this book is. Let me see how many pages it says. 802 pages. Wow, not the longest book I've ever read, but that is pretty big, to be fair. I think at the time this would have been the longest book I've ever read. Wow, but I do have another book that I'm going to talk about in a minute that is longer than this, and I will tell you how many pages. I don't even know how you can get longer than 802 pages, but you can somehow. I gave this book 5 stars. I love it. If you haven't read the Boys of Tommen series yet, please go and do it. It is a very long series, but so worth it. And I honestly cannot wait to read Saving Six, which I think is about, what's his name? How can I not remember his name? Joey? Is it Joey, or is it... Yeah, I can't remember who it is about, but either way, so excited. The rest of the books are Kindle books, so there won't be any physical ones to show you, but I'll put them on the screen, of course. We have God of Malice by Rena Kemp. This was 5 stars. I don't even remember a lot about this book, so I can't talk a lot about it, but at the time I obviously loved it, so I did give it 5 stars. Honestly, don't remember anything about it. It wasn't even that long ago, I don't think, but I really enjoyed it, and I have been going on a bit of a tangent on the Rena Kemp books because I've been wanting to read like all of them in the whole Rena Kemp universe for ages, so I have been doing exactly that. And I've also been reading the Cora Riley, is it Cora Riley? I don't know, universe series thing. I've been reading that as well, and I've been really enjoying it. And I just recently read Bound by Duty, so I'm now on Bound by Hatred. Next we have Secrets and Masks. Now this book is 1,399 pages. That is by far one of the longest books I have ever read in my life. I don't think you can beat that at that point. 1,300, just 1,400 at that point. 1,400 pages is insane, and I read it in 10 days. So what's that? I was so obsessed with this book when I was reading it. It was so hooking. Oh my god, I talked about it in Vlogmas Day 1, but I'm going to talk about it again. This book is something I've never read anything like before. It was a Draco Malfoy x Hermione Granger book, and I've never read anything like that before because I never understood the hype of it. I still kind of don't. Not gonna lie, but I still think that I will maybe read other books in the series to see if I can sort of get more into it, because I would like to understand what's going on in the whole Draco Malfoy x Hermione thing. And I just did the maths, and it's 140 pages for 10 days I did, and obviously some days I've probably read more. So wow, I am very impressed with that. That is, I think that says a lot on how much you've enjoyed a book if you've read 140 pages unknowingly. I think I would struggle to do that in a reading challenge. So, you know, I think the fact that I've done that willingly really says something. So I'm going to sort of spoil it a little bit. So if you haven't read this book, I'll put the time on the screen that you can skip to, because I really wouldn't want this spoiled for me. So I'm going to let you leave before I start speaking about it. Wow. Yeah, it starts off very similar to the Deathly Hallows Part 2. So instead of how Deathly Hallows ends, where Voldemort hasn't died or anything, so forget the end of Deathly Hallows Part 2. That doesn't happen. I don't think. Not that I can remember. I've probably got that wrong. But yeah, Harry is obviously still alive. Ron and Hermione are together, but they're not happy. And Ron is definitely not how he is in the book or the films. Hermione is like proper badass. She can fight for herself and she don't need a man. Yeah, but to skip a little bit, Hermione gets caught by Voldemort. He gets taken to like the place where they all meet up, like all of the evil people that I can't think what their names are. Oh, I'm not that big of a Harry Potter fan though, I remember everything like that. Yeah, he casts a spell between Malfoy and Hermione that they like, he dies, she dies. So you can't kill him because you'll die. And all along, he's like trying to get into her mind, Malfoy is, and in the end is actually a massive plot twist that like he's actually being casting like this spell in her mind, and it's actually, I didn't expect it at all, so that was very shocking. But yeah, obviously they fall in love and it was actually such a good book. The romance was just perfect, and again I loved the dragon, which I loved how much the dragon loved Hermione in the end, and of course died for her, which don't make me cry again. But the end of this book, wow. Wow. Wasn't expecting so many people to die. Wasn't expecting Hermione and Malfoy to die as well, because the main characters never die. I wasn't expecting the book to be so sad. I had a proper cry at the end. I just truly wasn't expecting it, and it was really good. So if you haven't read it yet and you are a fan of the whole Draco, Malfoy and Hermione thing, go and read it, because it was quite interesting but very long, so you might need like at least a week and more to read it, because it's a very long book. For that was a 5-star book. I'd probably even go to say 6 stars, because that book truly made me sob at the end. So sad at the end. Oh my god. I was very secretly hoping that they wouldn't have died and it was just a happy ending. No, that was it. It was an alternative ending, but they were ghosts. That was it. Yes, I remember. So then Hermione and Malfoy could go and travel the world just as ghosts, and yeah, it was really cute at the end, but obviously so sad. And I was still reading it with tears going down my eyes, yet it should have been happy. Then last but not least, we have Obsession by Harley Beck. Now, I did speak about this in Vlogmas Day 1. Again, I'm going to say it again. This book is about a journalist who gets assigned to this inmate who has specifically asked for her to interview him. The tension between these two, he's like really calculated. He knows what he's doing. He knows, you know, he's a serial killer, so he's killed many women, so he knows what he's doing. The female main character, she obviously falls in love with him, because they all do, but but yeah, it's really interesting and definitely not what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting so much of the book to be him actually out of prison, which is a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, he did escape prison for her, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of plot twists in this book actually, especially with her co-worker that you kind of expected all along, but she just didn't really see the signs. But there's a lot going on in this book, but really good. I think it was like 400 to 500 pages and I read it really quickly, so I did really enjoy it, and for that I did also give it a 5 stars. So that is the end of the video. I either talked for way too long or I talked for very little time. I'm not entirely sure, but I had fun, as you can tell. Thank you for watching if you made it to the end. Let me know if you're enjoying Vlogmas already, because I am. Probably don't look it. Yeah, this has been fun. Thank you so much for watching. I'm just going to check, but I don't think there's too many reading vlogs or reading videos left for Vlogmas. There's not many that I did at all. There is one more book involved video left, and yeah, that is it. That's all we've got for the book videos. So the rest will be vlogs, you know, spend the day with me, that kind of thing. Thank you so much for watching, and if you made it to the end. So I will see you in 2 days time for Vlogmas day 4. Bye!